Why are irrigation permits required?
A lot of people don't think about sprinkler systems, lawn sprinkler systems, as requiring a permit, but the state does require licensed irrigators to do those. So of course we require a permit to make sure that the person who's doing it is licensed, and also to make sure that the work is installed correctly. The state has a long list of things that must be provided for an irrigation system. You can't just throw some pipes in the ground and call it a day. Everything must be designed to certain standards. You have to have a plan that you leave with the homeowner, so they, for future reference. Water conservation is something that has to be taken into account now. For instance, rain sensors are required on all new irrigation systems. Your new irrigation systems can tell if it's been raining, and they won't waste water by coming on. So there's a lot of different things that we have to look for to make sure. We always look, or I always try to talk about what are some of the dangerous things that could happen if you don't call for permits. In this particular case, irrigation system, you think there's nothing that could go wrong, but one of the major things that we have to look for in irrigation systems is what we call cross connections. You are tied to the city's potable water supply. If something happens, if the pressure in the city lines drops, then that water flow is going to go in the reverse direction. You don't want water that's, for whatever reason can be contaminated once it's out in the open, to be sucked back into the pipes and go into the city water system. So we do require backflow preventers that make sure that doesn't happen, and we have to inspect those. And even after we've inspected them, those backflow preventers have to be inspected annually, and that's done through our water quality lab.
What kinds of irrigation work require a permit?
Pretty much anything, any irrigation system requires a permit. Of course, if you're going to hook up a garden hose to your hose bib and put a little lawn sprinkler on the lawn, that doesn't fall under this scope. But any irrigation system in the ground requires a permit.
What must homeowners do to perform their own irrigation work?
Again, the exception for homeowners is that now the irrigation law does not include the homestead portion of the exemption. The exemption for irrigation work is that homeowner, if they are living in the home, or they are going to be living in the home in the next 3 months, they are allowed to do their own irrigation work. So if you're building a new home but you want to do your own irrigation system, you haven't quite moved in yet but you're planning on living there, then you can do your own work. Now if you're living in a home, you can go out there and replace your own sprinkler heads, etc.
What's involved with obtaining an irrigation permit?
Similar to anything else, basically they have to have a plan of how they're going to do the work. We don't require the plan at the time of permitting. They come in and just pull a permit, let us know where it's going to go, who's doing the work, who's it for, pay their permit fee. Once they call for an inspection, they must have a copy of the plan on site so that our plumbing inspector can take a look at that plan and make sure that what was installed is what the state is approving.
Must irrigation work be performed by a licensed professional?
People are required to use a state licensed inspector. If anybody at all comes to install your sprinkler system, they must be state licensed. Again, the exception is if you want to do the work yourself and you're living in that home, then you can certainly do that. If you have questions, again, my advice is to call us and ask us. We'll do what we can to help you. If you can't find our number, or another option is to contact the Public Information Facebook page, the City of San Angelo Facebook page. Post your question there and they'll get it to us and we'll do our best to answer it.